Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Camille Prado, Global Editor of CDO Magazine. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Zakir Hussain, the EY Americas Data Leader. Zakir, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Camille.
It's been a pleasure getting to know you a bit through the research report we published with EY on data readiness for AI. I'm excited to talk with you about some key insights and your experience working with leading enterprises. Before we dive in, would you briefly introduce yourself and share a bit about your role at EY?
Sure, yes. As you mentioned, Camille, I lead enterprise data work across all sectors for EY Americas for solving data and AI related problems for our clients.
That's an important role. Thank you so much for sharing. All right, let's get started. So, first, I'd like to address data initiative alignment. So, tell me, how critical do you think is the alignment of data initiatives with business objectives for CDOs and senior leaders? Could you perhaps share some examples of strategies you see organizations using to achieve this alignment?
I believe alignment of business objectives is extremely essential. And that's the best way to drive the right value and ensure the data efforts are actually contributing to the overall goals of the organization. So, according to the research that we just did with EY and CDO Magazine, it said that 53% of the data leaders recognize alignment with the core business objectives. Personally, I actually think that it needs to be even higher. And when data strategies are aligned with the business goals, they enable informed decision making. So if the data strategies are built in a silo, let's say that if it's only IT focused or if it's only focused within a function, there is only a limited number of people that see value, and a user adoption becomes a big problem. And when user adoption becomes a big problem, then you don't really see the value that was originally intended. So some key considerations for strategies that I have found useful are engaging the stakeholders at the right time, which is really right at the start. Having a way to measure outcomes. So some KPIs that have to be agreed upon among the stakeholders on how we are going to measure the the success of the project that we are starting. And then clear and consistent communications to all the stakeholders that are involved. Some of the additional strategies that help scale these initiatives would be to start small and build on those successes, setting up the right governance and the right operating model, making sure that the performance metrics are being built as part of the initial project, and then start scaling, basically start leveraging the performance metrics or the framework that was set up, and then continuing to build upon that for additional initiatives.
Thank you. Yes, we're going to get a little more into that in just a moment. In the report, CDO Magazine and EY published, only 22% of CDOs rank measuring ROI as a top requirement for AI integration. Is that surprising? And what other factors do you see driving data initiatives in organizations?
That was interesting that it showed only 22%. But in my opinion, it landed within the top three. And the top three that were listed were alignment with business objectives, immediate operational requirements, and the third one was the anticipated ROI. So the focus is always on the core business that drives investments. And alignment with the business objectives is typically somewhere in the top because the focus is either the top line growth, the bottom line efficiencies, employee satisfaction, or customer satisfaction, or regulatory compliance. All of those things, in one way or the other, are directly related to some type of return that the business is looking for. And Therefore, when businesses are prioritizing alignment with business objective or immediate operational efficiencies, ROI is always part. The second thing that's pretty important is that when you think about what's happening today with the advent of Gen AI, the businesses are very much focused on trying to figure out how do we get ROI through applying AI. And to be able to do that, data also becomes very important. So that has become pretty high priority for all of the businesses as well, to get the data in the right place for achieving business objectives. We can get to a point where we can start utilizing AI, agentic AI, as fast as possible.
Now, I want to talk a little bit more about data investments. So, what key indicators do organizations use to measure the ROI of their data investments? Can you share any examples of key metrics that have evolved over time to align with changing business goals and or with changing technology landscape?
Yeah, so based on our experience and with how critical the data investments are, one of the things that we have been focused on is value realization. For every single engagement, every single initiative that we work on with our clients, typically the core focus of the value realization office is standing up the right governance, standing up the right operating model for the mandate, tracking the progress, and making sure that you're actually hitting the targets, holding stakeholder accountable to deliver on agreed value, and then analyzing financial benefits and preparing executive communication to make sure that everyone stays aligned. Those are typically the most important things in value realization. Stakeholders are always one of the most important ones. Change management, reporting, training. So while many of these activities have previously existed in tracking value, the accountability to value realization is a critical function to ensure programs achieve their stated targets.
It totally makes sense. Yes. Well, Zakir, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been such a pleasure to hear your insights and from your experience. I'd like to say for more interviews and insights, please visit cdomagazine.tech.
Thank you, Camille.